What's going on? This is Real Talk back at you again. I want to do my comments about this whole thing reverting to this Nigerian brothers. Number one, everybody should know by now that this is staged. Everybody should know that a lot of the stuff is going on is spearheaded by Lee Daniels. Because what did he tell everybody? He wanted to shove homosexuality down the so-called black and Hispanic people's throat. He wanted us to embrace it, accept it, deal with it, to the point that everybody's this way. Why? Because it's all about population control. Now, let's speed it up with the Nigerian brothers. If everybody who know these guys will recognize these guys, these are extras from the Empire show. These guys are Nigerian brothers from the southern part of Nigeria, which is our people. That's actually our blood, our bloodline. But when it come down to the LGBTQ community, gay and lesbian, that's president over your race. So the narrative is we're going to make this more acceptable, more promising to us, because why? It fits our narrative, and our narrative is homosexuality, and that's all Empire, Black Lightning, and all of these shows that highlight or predicated around us think, function, and deal with, because that is the mindset of those people that are in position of authority that's president over us. Number one, everyone knows that noose that he was talking about was going to be what? Stage. Two, he didn't want to give away his phone records. Know why? Because their phone numbers are going to come up. Lee Daniels' numbers going to come up. And everybody else who may be involved will come up. Three, most of us thought that maybe he was involved in some crazy, extra stuff that everybody know that people in his genre do. And they got out of hand and they decided, let's run with it. And the reason why he didn't call the police and no charges were being made, because number one, it was staged. And now it's looking bad on Lee Daniels, because who was the first one to get on it? Lee Daniels should be a good actor, because everybody know by now this stage is fixed. To the point now, the credibility of him, which is not even our brother, Jussie Smollett, because his father is a Turkish man, a Jewish man. So he have no blood ties to us. But because we don't know or care to know who we are as a people, meaning the bloodline, meaning the seed. Whatever the seed is the man, that is the seed of the child. That's where we have to go. If you follow the Bible, you will know that. If you follow genealogy, you follow DNA of science, there is no such thing as mixed. There is no such thing as this multi-equality stuff. If you don't believe me, listen to Don Lemon take on, Facebook Live with Jada Pinkett Smith, when he was going on and telling everyone that he had to decide to be a black man or a gay man, because you can't have both in Hollywood or in the entertainment genre. You have to be a coon or a buffoon or some kind of lunatic or safe, or that way we can trust you, or sit on the director's chair, couch, lounge, whatever you want to call it. But that's what he said. You should check it out. It was very interesting that he said that. And this is a actual brother who is married or involved with a Caucasian man. And his genre is talking about white domestic terrorism. But no pun intended, you getting terrorized by white men on a daily basis, willingly. So we have to understand the agenda that's going on. Even with Kamala Harris, they bring up the LGBTQ community, and to the point now that, what about us? This is why a lot of us don't get involved in politics or even the Breakfast Club. They're pom-pomming for her now, and who she's married to. Tell people, man, you got to look at people's resume. Same thing with him. Have anybody ever actually seen him openly with a gay man? No. Have anybody actually seen him or married to or engaged in any activity other than stage stuff on Empire? Yes, you saw him kiss Lee Daniels, but have anybody actually seen it? No, we haven't. No, we haven't. And these are up and coming Nigerian brothers, and 9 times out of 10, they've been approached. And if you know what I mean, I'm going to leave that alone. But that's why I tell everyone, don't believe the hype, man. Don't get caught up in names, because all of this stuff is staged on entertainment, television, news, all of that. Fake news, regardless of what it is. What are you talking about Fox News? What are you talking about CNN? What are you talking about Democrat, Republican? What are you talking about liberal or conservative? What are you talking about rich or poor? They're all looking for the so-called black man and Hispanic man to leave their nutsack at the door. And that's all this is about. You know what I mean? And it was a very sloppy attempt, very poorly staged, to the point that no one would believe that. Because if this would happen to him, first he tried to blame it on MAG, the white supremacist group. That didn't work. Because we all know that the power be would never allow you to attack your own people, regardless of what he looked like. That's his own people. And he's highly connected because of his father, and so is his sister. You see all the roles they get, because let's just be honest. A lot of us don't have the opportunity to be included in those conversations, those genres, unless we bend in the knee, unless it's something to us that they feel that they can exploit or are safe. And that's what it is with Jussie Smollett, even though he's not our brother, but people pretend or think he is. It's the same thing with Barack Obama. He's not our brother. He did absolutely nothing. If people paid attention to what Barack Obama said in his speech, especially for those who me that reside in Chicago, Illinois, you would know that he did absolutely nothing for the so-called black community or Hispanic community. He did more for the gay and lesbian community that he ever done for us, ever will do for us. Case in point, the projects he got in Hyde Park, which is literally minutes from my house. And it's everybody. It's nothing that's for us. It's like we have to be accepted by including everybody else who have benefited from our pain, our sorrow, and our suffering. The same thing would go on with Jussie Smollett. He's capitalizing on our ability not to be in those closed doors conversations. Those conversations that happens when it comes down to people in position of authority to make things like this and think that we're going to take the bait. Or what happened if somebody who, just say for instance, was a fan of the show and they decided that they wanted to attack a Nigerian brother or a white person or anybody for that matter, which I'm not condoning any violence of any type. I'm just calling for what it is. How would they feel if someone got hurt by this staged scam? And what was the narrative? To push his meteorically music career outside of Empire. And to push the narrative even further than what it is. That's why they wanted it in Chicago. See, people that know, what's going on. So you got to think outside the box. You got to think heretically how people approach methodically, how do they think and how do they dissect different genres, different people of ethnicity that are persuasion, even though they may or may not. But we're just talking about the population and the genre, which is us. The majority of us watch Empire. So that's why they brought 2 Nigerian brothers. Because now It's about gay and being black. Now, gay people gonna say, well, I'm a black man, so now I have to throw away my nutsack at the door because my sexual pressure, or I should say, for lack of a better term, persuasion or orientation or preference, outruled my nationality. Because when you look at the LGBTQ community, for the most part that I've seen in mainstream, it's done very little for the black gay man and the lesbian that is a black woman, that is our people, even Hispanics. So, because why? The president is them. Same thing with the feminist movement. It's not prosperous for the black woman, the Latino woman. It's not prosperous for the genre of us. It's not prosperous to join these different things. It's against us. It separates us. More layers. Because when you're talking about the power to be, you're still talking about the same bird. So when people talk this lefty and righty nonsense, that's letting you know they're not in the know. Because that bird still have one head, regardless of what wing it's using. Good cop, bad cop. It's the same thing. Same thing. Gay people, black people. Now, going to make us sympathize with Jussie Smollett because now Nigerian people, that's why they're not going to press charges because number one, they didn't do anything. And he put the noose around his neck. And there is no evidence of that. That's why he's not going to give up his phone records. That's why when you saw him, he is not terrorized or terrified. He looked just as smooth it is. Because if I had something happen to me that drastically, when somebody tried to hang me, number one, you knew if they really wanted to hang him, he wouldn't be here by now. So I don't know what is the narrative that him or anybody trying to fool. But that is my spiel. I didn't want to be too long. But I know I said a lot of things in the window. But the narrative still is that this is staged. This is fixed. This is not what people think or try to be. And the narrative is to shove homosexuality down our throats more than it already is. Look at Black Lightning. Look at every show that's predominantly dealing with us. It's like, okay, you guys want a show? You got to accept homosexuality. We got to put being gay at the forefront of everything. And gay is not fixing our community. And gay is not helping our community. That's your personal thing. The same thing if I like basketball. That got nothing to do with somebody want to play baseball or tennis, or that's your preference. We talking about people. We talking about persons. Not saying we have anything against anybody orientation, but we calling it what it is. And my show was predicated around basketball, and you're a football player. So I'm trying to shove or encourage and make you a basketball fan or make you quit football. But you love football, not basketball. That's not nice. That's not cool. And Jussie Smollett, Lee Daniels, it didn't work because you did it at the wrong place, which is Chicago. People should know, and I want this to be on the record, Chicago is the third largest city in the United States. Chicago have cameras everywhere. And if it was a crime in Chicago, which I'm going to go into a later point when they call them all black on black crime, even in our community, we have too many cameras. That's why when people say black on black crime, okay, where? Where's the perpetrator? Where's the evidence? There is none. 86% of Chicago crime is unsolved. What do you mean unsolved? Because the power that be in position of authority to change the narrative, the cameras have intel to know how to get in and get out without being seen, which we don't have that technology, power, or position of authority. as a whole. That got nothing to do with the superintendent being black, because everybody know he just a puppet for the mayor and all his other people that's under him that's pushing that. And that's another story. But like I'm saying is, Jussie Smollett, shame on you. Lee Daniels, shame on you if you had a heart. And you used these two Nigerian brothers as a scapegoat, and it was a very terrible thing, because I guess they said, look, man, if I get arrested over this, because this could be charged a hate crime. Oh, they Nigerian. But those particular Nigerian, as you can tell, are our brothers. They're not the regular African people that have no blood ties to us. But I'll get into that later. But that's my spiel. Comment, like, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Let me know what you think. If you have some new evidence to further or improve or disprove me, show it. Because based on the evidence that I have, because I live in Chicago and we didn't watch tape after tape after tape after tape, it don't exist. We even got cameras, viewers seeing him standing there and nobody was bothering him. We saw him on the phone. So that's going to come out. So I'm out.